Hey everyone, today's day 2 of my video challenge. Just enjoying the afternoon. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Just enjoying the birds chirping and sitting outside. We've had some beautiful weather in Saskatoon, so it feels like spring. It feels like the heat of summer is coming, and that always makes all of us feel better. So today, what I want to talk about is, I want to talk about grief, and I want to talk about, as one of my mentors says, checkpoints or challenges. And the reason why I want to talk about grief today is because today is the 5th anniversary of our house fire. Mother's Day will always be a constant reminder of that fire, of losing absolutely everything. My husband and daughter and I really got out of our home with just the clothes on our back. We didn't have our wallets or our glasses or any of that. That loss. So when I think about grief, I think about, what is the definition of grief? Grief is really a deep sorrow that people experience after a loss. And that loss could be a variety of things. That loss could be a loved one. It could be through death. It could be a loss of a relationship, whether it was an intimate one or just a friend, because you had to move on because it was, unhealthy. Could be the loss of, a home or something bigger than that. And working in healthcare, I understand the clinical stages of grief, right? I understand that people go through, denial and anger and bargaining and depression and acceptance, and all of which are just stops along, a non-linear continuum, right? We all know that, grief is different for everybody, and everybody moves through these stages of grief in a different way. When I think about the loss of our house, this is the first year where there's very little sadness. That there's a huge, profound feeling of gratitude to have gone through that, because it really pivoted me and my family into a different direction. And I guess that's why I want to talk about, checkpoints or challenges in our life. These are things, it doesn't necessarily have to be a loss, and it doesn't need to be necessarily grief that, triggers those checkpoints in our lives. They really are, things that profoundly change us in a way, a lesson that we learn. But they really change inherently who we are and make us a better person. The loss of our house was one of those. I knew immediately. I remember as I, at 3:00 in the morning, went back to my parents' house and decided, okay, get my to-do list out. How are we going to get through this? And looked at my husband and my family and said, this moment is telling me I need to live my life differently, that I'm not meant to be a big house, 2 cars, typical family that our society really puts pressure on us to be, to have. And that was a stepping stone for me, a stepping stone in, major transformative change. I have, one of my mentors had posted a video, regarding grief, a TED Talk by of a woman named Nora McInerney. And she talks about, the title of her TED Talk is called, We Don't Move On from Grief, We Move Forward. And it really resonated with me because, I think that when, certainly in my clinical practice, is you want people to get over their grief, but the reality is that whatever we're grieving is something that is very deep within us. I thought that it was so powerful that Nora was talking about, that it moves forward with us, because that without that experience, we wouldn't be who we are today. And there's such great benefit of that in that moment. You know, my husband, we were talking about this, and he talked about how his analogy, which is very visual, was that, you know, when you think about grief, it's like if you think about a piece of paper, grief is, you know, putting a hole within that piece of paper. And as you heal, the support that you have, that paper, the edges kind of expand, but that hole in the middle still exists, right? And so it's using that experience to kind of make us evolve. Anyways, that's what I wanted to talk about. So in the comments, I want you to kind of tell me about things that you have grieved about, or things that you're actively grieving, or checkpoints, experiences which you've had that have really catapulted you or changed the direction in which you live your life. I'd really love to hear about it. I'd love to hear about, you know, if there's a challenge and you're looking for some kind of assistance or something that you want to hear me talk about. Anyways, that's my thoughts for today. I hope you enjoyed that. Again, in the comments below, let me know what you're thinking, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.